FootyCast, live from BackChat Studios. Finally, Skeeter gets here. I tell you what, shelterfootycast.com.au. Go find everything there. It's about bloody time you got here, mate.
Hello, Scully. Yes, my daughter said to me I've been thrown under the bus on Instagram or some social media form of me holding up today's Shelter Footycast, which of course is complete absolute rubbish because I was already at 8 o'clock, but because you were down south at Busselton at Shelter, probably doing the NFL fantasy team.
Yeah, that's right.
Probably had 64 shelters and probably took you a couple of hours to get back here. So no, I was on time, I was ready to go, but I'm accommodating you just living a life of Brian, just doing what you want to do.
Someone's written, because I didn't think you'd get that. I didn't think you'd
it gets back to me, all this stuff does.
So someone's written in saying, because I said it was your fault, Skeeter to rub baby oil on his head for an apology live on the podcast.
Yeah, probably not.
Wait till I get my hands on him from someone else as well. So people not happy with you, Skeeter. That's right. It is my fault. I do apologise to you, Skeeter. I know that taking up a Thursday, Thursday's your Netflix and chill day, isn't it?
Well, it is, except my wife's at home today, so I'm just the longer I can stay out of the house means the less domestic work I have to do. Even when it's raining, I say, can we watch Netflix? No, you got to clean the garage or sweep the shed. I'm going, the only time I go to the shed is when I make a wrong turn.
What, for a ciggy?
No, just when man cave, bed. Right. That's about fridge. That's about all I have in my life, really, in my house. That I worry about.
Where do you hide your cigarettes?
I don't hide. Don't talk that seriously. You're winding me up. I need to catch up with Tommy Hawkins and maybe even I can go to the pub once he retires.
Very good. So sorry we're late, guys. A big shout out to Jared who won our spot in the NFL fantasy competition.
Yeah,
bloody ripper. Drove me down, drove me back. Bloody took charge there last night. He had the best team in the competition.
And what did he win?
Mate, he won the opportunity to be in the fantasy league, and he won a day with me.
Did he stay at the Hilton?
I want to drive up and down to Busselton with me. And a night at the Hilton. Shout out the Hilton, Busselton.
Yeah, I love it. Absolutely. No, it's great. And of course, the NFL season begins. Well, this time tomorrow. We've got the first game between the reigning Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs, up against the Baltimore Ravens. So I can't wait for the NFL to come back.
I keep forgetting who your team is.
Probably the 49ers, but any team that the 49ers, I would say I really like the way they go about it.
Okay, very good. Make sure you've got your tickets to a couple of things. The grand final, thefinal.au, guests being locked in as we speak. This will be a huge event, Subiaco Oval. Get all of your mates together. There's a VIP tent if you want to enter that. Lots of things happening there. You've got the general admin part, those huge screens, big bars. We might have a Skeeter mannequin down there. I'm not too sure at this stage, but the final, what?
No, I've got a couple other commitments I might be having to push on to, but
I'm going to see if Shelter's maybe up to flying you back from wherever you're going to be.
I think that's going to be a very big task.
Thefinal.au is where you get your tickets for that. That is, of course, September 28. Jack Buckley Medal happening on Brownlow night as well at the Leadable Hotel on the Monday before that. You can get your tickets at backchatstudios.com.au for that. That's the Jack Buckley Medal.
And I want to say well done to the BackChat team, you and Dan, with the Adam Simpson piece, which went through mainstream media yesterday. Of course, a good time for it to come out in the sense that, it's pretty quiet in WA footy at the moment. And it was good coverage. And Simpson spoke obviously about Harley Reid and about his future and a whole range of issues. But it was a good.
Is there a whack coming?
No, I was just saying it was a really good play. I think people want to hear more about him. And as I said, I hope he ends up getting a gig, say, at Fremantle in some capacity. Whether that happens or not, I don't know what the setup is down there. But he shouldn't be lost to footy, particularly in WA, if we've got the chance to keep him.
Very nice of you, Skate. Thanks for the credit where credit's due. Some other organisations in this town don't like doing that, but that's okay because we got the interview. So stick it up your ass. Will Schofield, Mark Reddings, Shelter FootyCast. Well, if you're going to steal someone's work, at least give it a little bit of credit.
Hang on. I watched 7 News last night. They were
brilliant, and they were brilliant. Brilliant.
No, they did.
I know, and they led the sport with a brilliant Ryan Daniels running a great team.
And I saw the West, to be fair. They had, what I saw at the end of the...
It was like, that'd be like, that's sort of like,
credits?
Yeah.
No, it was still there. No, as long as you credit, okay. Well, I didn't see anything on 10, and I'm not sure what happened on 9, but certainly 7, and I saw something in the West, so, you're getting some love, and rightfully so.
Thank you, Skater. Let's talk about the Eagles coaching jobs to kick off things happening right now.
You think that a highly acclaimed author might be the man?
Well, very good. Skeeter, not bad from you. I've just fully, I've just gone like I do on this show.
You just shoot without knowing where the bullets are going.
Well, mate, okay, so Mark Duffield, who I would say best in the business here in WA, knows what's going on. I've seen his shortlist. He's given me 6. So I've just figured, well, I've got to lay the caravan to someone.
And I'm going to rule out a couple that he's put in there.
Danny Daly, we know he's not.
Wouldn't have thought him.
Coach.
And I as I keep saying, Brett Montgomery, I've heard not flattering reports about how he left at the Bulldogs.
Okay.
That doesn't mean he can't coach. And let's be honest, we don't know. You know about the likes of Sam Mitchell because he coached it, but unless you're actually coached by these guys. But one hint I guess we could get out of that in brief, and I'll let you go on to explain why you think that you've got the number one contender, is that if Jared Schofield was going to be coach, wouldn't he have been appointed by now?
Yes. So I think we can rule him out.
Yes, but I still think he'll be at the club next year, providing he wants to in an assistant capacity, because I think he's only coach contracted at this stage. That's just my...
Luke Shuey's contracted for next year.
Yeah, okay. Yep, fair shout. But he's one of the few that is contracted. Also begs the question, they're waiting for a team to drop out of the finals. Now, whether that's Geelong, where you look at someone like Stephen King, the Bulldogs, Brendan Lade, they're the two that probably stand out. McQualter, of course, coached at Melbourne, so
he's not getting the job.
That doesn't lead to him getting the job.
Mate,
I know less about this Eagles coaching search anyway. Well, it's guesswork because to be fair, they've kept this subcommittee pretty much in house, unless they've got a big dog that they are waiting.
Like Ken
or Chris. I'm just saying, probably
Chris
not.
Scott.
I don't know. I'm saying you're more likely, if you're putting the eggs in a basket, you're going to say one of those assistants that you've mentioned. But you're saying Stephen King is the man.
Stephen King's the man. I'm putting my hat in the ring with no other reason other than I'm just looking at the candidates. I think he's got the best acumen of the lot of them. Been a captain, been a premiership player, been a best and fairest winner with Geelong, coached across 4 different clubs. He's at Geelong right now.
He was a caretaker when Stewie Dew was relieved of his duties. The other bloke that I've heard good reports about, and that's from someone who worked with him, which is that's where we can go on in the media, is Brendan Lade.
Yep.
Now, I don't know on the basis of whether he has better credentials than Stephen King, but if they're the two that we're down to, which sounds they're in the short list, but again, we might be off the mark.
I hear Stephen King's the guy, so that's my 2 cents, Skater. And if I'm wrong, just like everything else on the podcast, we'll just move forward and we won't ever speak about it again.
Well, given that you've got good mail, when will that be announced, do you think?
When they're out of the finals.
So what if they make the GF? No, seriously.
Yeah, the day after the GF, he gets announced.
Is that too long in terms of delisting? So I know that there was only one coach in the exit meetings. That was Jared Schofield.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Geelong aren't making the grand final, Skater. I don't think so. We're about to preview finals right now, but
they're in a qualifying final, so they're okay. But you've completely since round 2, you basically dissed them. Jeez, I'd love to win tonight.
Yeah,
just to really make you look like a dick.
Win, love a flag. I'll come in here draped in Geelong gear.
that'd be great.
Well, so yeah, I just think Stephen King's the guy. That's what I think, Skater. That's what I've heard. That's what my sources tell me.
And if that's the case, he'll be the biggest West Coast Eagles coach ever.
Tallest
in terms of, that's huge.
He's Ruckman. He's a big man. He's a good man. Ran into him in Bali a couple of years ago. Spent about 4 days by the pool because our kids are the same age. You know those like holiday couples you meet, right? He was one. He and his wife, brilliant people. Yeah, we ended up at the bar most nights with them. Like great guy.
So like a drink.
I mean, who doesn't?
Well, let's get him across and let's start doing some work together, brother.
All right, let's get into some footy. I'm absolutely pumped that finals are here. To be honest. Like here, like the AFL, I reckon more so than any other year, has fully lost momentum coming into this weekend. I've spoken to some people, big Geelong fans, who are like, oh, that's right, Geelong are fucking in the finals. They're playing tonight. I think having the weekend off loses the momentum that the season had, and I think it had really good momentum. It was such a up and down last round. There was so much on the line, and then you go, and all the steam comes out of the room. Now, I know we'll regain that once finals kicks back up, but we have had just a period of nothing.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, whether you put the Brownlow medal on, if we can continue in this vein next year, of course, the wildcard weekend's been spoken about, but I reckon
Brownlow doesn't get the momentum going, does it?
No, probably not. And a wildcard weekend, I'm hearing it's far from a done deal now. Like there's some wavering on that front. So I do agree with you. I don't know how you fix it, given that I prefer to have a break before the grand final in terms of that week's break, which, apart from anything, allows players who are injured or with a concussion to get a look at the big game.
And the momentum would would gain, I think, through a week off before a grand final.
I think so.
I think you leave the Brownlow where it is. You get the Brownlow and you're building and building and building. So I think they've butchered that, but I think we'll see that back the other way. Sam Doherty, I think, is probably the biggest story out of this weekend.
It's huge, isn't it? 26 weeks since he did his ACL. I think that's one of the most remarkable comebacks from an ACL. You go back to Nick Malcheski, who was just over 3 months when he did his knee, but of course he went through Lars.
Yeah, which is the artificial tendon, which is not what Sam Doherty's done.
And it just gets... Look, I think Carlton's underdone. I think they're just going to be making up the numbers. I think they might win on Saturday night. I don't think they will, but I just get the feeling that Carlton's limping to September with no momentum. Charlie Curnow, there's doubts about him, but he's the story, isn't he? Doherty, I think that's Voss's way of saying to try and get this group up for what's going to be a pretty tough task.
We'll break that game down in a bit, but just Sam Doherty, in particular, I said this yesterday on one of the crosses, I couldn't have more respect for Sam Doherty, right? So what I'm about to say is nothing about him personally or even like what he's about to attempt to do, but I what he's been able to come back from, a cancer perspective, multiple ACLs, his third one he's come back from. He's clearly
heart and soul of the club,
resilient and can handle adversity and just a brilliant human, right? However, I don't think it's a good move.
To the furnace of a final, first game back, gee whiz.
It makes me feel sick thinking about it. I hope he's best on ground.
I just hope he gets through the game.
Well, yeah, but what I hope for, best on ground, has the best game ever. It's a brilliant comeback, redemption, fastest ever recovery we've seen. I hope that happens. But, mate, what about the other way? What if it goes the other way? First 5 minutes, first contest, something happens. Like, that'll be sickening. That'll be like a car crash. But the saying goes, can't look away. That'll be something you want to look away from, mate. And I just hope they haven't. I hope they're not putting all their eggs in, just trying to get this thing done. Because, like you say, Carlton, I think, is underdone, as a whole. Are they going to win a flag this year? Can they win a flag this year?
I would think not. Yeah, and
so shouldn't you be just on your third ACL? See you in March.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree, and I think it's a sign, not a sign of desperation, but the Blues, because of the injury list, they're trying to manufacture something. Look, he's done all the prep, but I'm a bit with you on this one in a final. Yeah, I given how important he is to your club, not in 5 years from now, but certainly to get another good 12 months out of him, I'd hate to see anything happen.
Christian Petrarca's staying around, so we're happy with that. That's all happening.
Yeah, well, Backtracker is what I heard. Instead of Christian Petrarca, Backtracker, Christian Backtracker. I don't know. I just want to hear from him. Come on, Track, get out there. Go and speak to BackChat or someone, anyone.
That statement that got put out wasn't written by him, I can tell you that right now.
No.
So, Cozzy Pickett's staying. He's no longer homesick. That was a little... what was it? Man, these boys are just putting their feelers out. Anyone interested? Can we get a deal done? No? Okay. No, actually, I'd like to stay. I love Melbourne. Yeah. They're my club.
Well, his partner's in Melbourne. He's got a young child. I think his sister's also in the area. His mum's over here in Perth, 3 hours drive from Perth. So I'm not sure where it all came from. I think he's on to Darwin for his end of season break.
Homesickness, mate. I'm telling you, there'd be some small cases where it's a thing, and maybe an incident's happened. Maybe there's real drastic measures need to be taken. It's not real, mate, unfortunately. Everyone's living their lives, and you might think you're missing out on things. You might need to be closer to do this and that. I would say 8 times out of 10, it's not real. It's a contract play. We hear it from players. I think most of the time it's bullshit, and we may as well just call it out. It's all good. If you don't want to be there and you want to go home, that's fine. That's not being homesick, though. So, Harley Reid chat around being homesick. If he leaves West Coast, it will not... I can tell you 10,000% it won't be because he's homesick. He's from Tongala, mate. He's from Tongala. He's not going home to live in Tongala.
It'll be a percentage of it, but the percentage will be his pay going back to a big club.
Which is fine.
And exactly. And in all honesty, I think not getting Cozzy Pickett, say from a Fremantle perspective, that would have been really nice. He's 23 years of age. Oh. He's young, and not discounting my man Shea Bolden in any respect. But
your favourite.
Gee, I tell you what, Cozzy would have been...
Cozzy and Shea would have been lightning.
Even just Cozzy. I just want to be very careful about the Shea deal that they don't give away too much, which you just get the feeling they're going to have to dish up at least one first rounder, and then from there, let's just make sure they make the prudent decision.
Just a quick congratulations to any Essendon fans listening.
20 years yesterday.
20 years since you won your last final. That mustn't be good. I don't think that'd be fun to be a fan of Essendon. Not winning a final. You got some, West Coast fans complaining about the state of their team. premiership 6 years ago, and plenty of won finals along the way. Not a W next to you get a name in finals in 20 years. That is remarkable.
And I'm not sure, whether they can look for the next 12 months. Brad Scott, is it a culture? Is it a list issue? Was Adrian Dodoro wholly responsible? Had a minor role in where the club's at. They are. Look, to be honest, if you're going to take the half glass full measure, I would suggest we saw enough this year during the first half of the year to know that there is some positivity there.
Yeah.
But how they can make sure they transfer their list into a half a year side into a full year team and give Essendon supporters something, because when they're, I know if you hate Essendon that's fine, but when they're up and about, they're a big club and a bit like Carlton, you don't want to see them in the doldrums for 30 years.
So on Carlton, and we'll get into their game in a little bit, but do you think the Freo? Well, sorry. Do you think the finals would be? Well, I know the answer. The finals would be far more exciting for us over here in the West if Freo had have sorted their shit out late in the year and made this final. I saw some comments from Luke Ryan over at 6PR with Adam Papalia, and he said pretty much they would have got back Sean Darcy, Josh Tracy and Alex Pearce for this game. They would have been a side that would have, I think, challenged more than Carlton would be challenging. Like, I think Freo would be a genuine, they're a chance to beat Brisbane. I don't think Carlton are. What do you think about Freo? I mean, those sort of statements, clearly a season loss.
Could have, would have, should have. They're not. But I agree with you. If they'd made it with a slightly healthier list, mind you, Carlton would say the same thing. If their list was fully healthy,
yes.
You can make up every excuse in the book at this time of the year, but if you're not there, you don't deserve to be there.
All right, this deal, would you do it? Pick 3 from West Coast to Richmond for Liam Baker and pick 10.
I saw that online.
Or something around 10.
Something
like a late, moving
so therefore
back
you're
in
getting an experienced player and
move back in the draft.
Yeah, but to get a kid and Liam Baker.
Yeah.
It's worth considering. I
think you'd definitely do that.
I think it's worth considering, given if you can bolster your hand to that degree by getting a quality young player in plus Liam.
Yes.
And I'm not going to say Liam Baker's going to win you. I don't think he's a player like Shea Bolton, for instance, that has that real X factor, a match winner. But in terms of what he brings to a young group, I think you definitely look at it.
Liam Baker's management saying that he hasn't made his decision where he wants to go to West Coast or Fremantle.
Okay.
So wouldn't it be whatever the best deal is? Or does he get to have some input here?
Don't know. I mean, whether he's also looking at if he started at Richmond, he was going to be, facing some tough times, and the same's going to apply at the West Coast Eagles.
If you're Liam Baker, you want to go to Freo.
In terms of football, of course. Yeah, there's no question.
He probably gets paid more at West Coast, maybe.
So what do you take? In all seriousness, you're the ex-player. Do you take the money or the prospect? And Fremantle, I don't care what anyone says, Fremantle in the next 3 or 4 years, if they're not contending, then they've got it wrong.
Now, this may speak to motivation levels of Liam, and I don't know Liam. Never spoken to him, don't know him. But he's won flags before. So the motivating factor for me, having won one, and before I'd won one, that was the motivator. And then once you won one, you've won one. So, he's not chasing the flag anymore.
Was he chasing money?
Well, I think that's probably what it could suggest. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have to go to Freo to go and win a flag. He's done that at Richmond. So what's he moving for? Maybe he wants to come home. I just think if you're Liam Baker and you're motivated by winning, you go to Freo.
So you're sort of leaning to the fact a bit like so a lot of the players from 2018 in your group who are still at the club, some of whom, most of whom, does it diminish your desire to win a flag in terms, or is it?
I think that's a no-brainer.
It's human nature.
Absolutely, yeah. You put yourself in the position of AFL players, or I'll just say it for myself. I don't represent anyone else. All I wanted to do as an AFL player was win a premiership. I grew up a Geelong fan. They were fell short of grand finals with me as a fan. I just that was what footy was about. And so then when you do it, you want to win more. Of course you want to win more, but you've done what you meant to. You've done what you're there to do. And yes, you want more. Everyone wants more, but you also done it. So I think it's human nature that you lose that edge.
And it's only a small edge, I imagine.
Exactly right. Good chat, Skate. Will Schofield. No, it's good. Will Schofield. Unlike us to get serious like that. Will Schofield, Mark Reddings, Shelter FootyCast. Port Adelaide, Geelong. Hopefully we'll get this podcast out by then, Skeet, for your lateness. Port Adelaide, Geelong, Thursday, 5:40 West Australian time. It's bloody good. Thursday night footy, I couldn't be happier.
Well, it's raining outside, it's cold, it's horrible, so why not sit at home and watch the footy?
Absolutely. Do you think you'll get that over the line with Victoria? Or
Mate, I'm calling the game for 6PR in the studio.
so it's a no.
So don't worry, I'm putting in an invoice.
I think we might be calling tomorrow.
Yeah, Bulldogs, Hawthorn.
You looking forward to that?
I am looking forward to all of them.
Okay. No, working with me.
Yeah, even that.
You don't give a shit who you're working. As long as that check comes through, you can put a stool next to Skeeter and you do your job just as well. It's a bloody credit to you, Skate.
Thank you very much.
You can work with anyone. Port Adelaide v Geelong, Adelaide Oval. Geelong unchanged into this one. Sam De Koning, a late in, maybe. He played VFL 5 days ago, Sam De Koning. Do they roll the dice with him?
Well, he's not selected, but that doesn't. Yeah, Geelong notorious for having made a late change or two.
You can work with anyone. Chris Scott can play with anyone. He'll just bring someone in off the rafters. I would not be surprised in the slightest with a late change to Geelong. Port Adelaide will get Charlie Dixon and Quinton Narkle, former Cat, back into the side. They'll lose Kane Farrell, which is a big out, and Dante Vicentini. I like him.
Yeah, I saw him here in Perth. He was okay. Yeah, I didn't mind him, and
they'll both miss.
They'll both miss, but Charlie obviously comes back to give them that big presence in attack. I've really liked Port Adelaide the last 2 months, and I keep going back to, Kenny was booed when they got rolled by and got smashed by the Lions. He's turned this club around really well, but that's the first tick of the season for him. This is a new season for them because they're not strangers to this time of the year, but they are unfortunately a team that have not been able to deliver on the big stage, and to get their season as a success and to turn it into a success, I think the minimum for them is reaching a grand final.
I think I agree with you, and I think that Ken has done his job. I think that the coach's job, thinking about this over the bye rounds because there's nothing else to bloody do. I think Ken's job and any coach's job is to get the team to finals. Like, he needs to be driving a game plan that can do that and deliver that. It needs to be driving consistency and making selection calls and get that side as high as possible on the ladder. So when you play finals, you're there to execute. And the players then, it's their job. There's only so much Ken Hinkley can do once finals happen. Mate, finals are played the same way, been happening for 30 years. Contested brand of footy, you've got to be great at defence, your midfield needs to be good, and you need to get the ball inside your forward 50 and hold it in there. Like, that's how finals footy goes. It doesn't matter what sort of footy you play. And so he's done his job for mine, and he's been doing his job for the last 4 or 5 years and even longer. It's on the players now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with you. It's a bit like Ross Lyon having not won a premiership, and there's the knock that he hasn't won it, but consistently, and we're going back to the time at St Kilda, his time at Fremantle, he was able to get his team into a possibility to win a grand final.
Yes.
As a fan, if you're doing that pretty regularly, that's all you're asking, isn't it? I mean, you obviously want to get the ultimate, and that's the difference between, for instance, Adam Simpson. If he'd lost that and the years had followed like they have, he wouldn't have lasted till 2024, I think. Whereas Nathan Buckley felt the heat, and it's amazing the fine margins for coaches of being a premiership coach and all the adulation that goes with it. And Ken Hinkley, who's been an outstanding coach in terms of his percentage win-loss record, but just hasn't achieved that final piece.
Well, I think they're a different side this year than they have been the past few. Coming in, both sides are in good form. So 8 of their last 9 Port have won, and Geelong have won 7 of their last 9. In terms of how this game will go, Cats have probably got the better forward line and back line than Port, but Port definitely have the best midfield. So, look, I've said that Port are going to win the flag. I'm saying, yep, Port on my team.
Hang on. When did you declare that?
Now.
Oh, because I was sure it was the Giants going back a couple of months ago. Then I thought it was Hawthorn.
No, can I explain myself or not?
You know, you can't. I just want to know how many teams you have in your premiership window.
What? Under 8. Definitely under 8.
You're one of the best.
Oh, there's definitely under 8. So my heart says GWS and Hawthorn.
Yeah.
Right. And my head says Port and maybe Brisbane. No. So I'm clear. Port Adelaide win the flag. Port Adelaide win the flag. What I saw last week against Freo with less to play for, I thought their defensive element, all that stuff, Port Adelaide win the flag. They're a different side this year with the best midfield.
Well, that's, and we talked about Rosie and Butters. We know what I saw from Jason Horn-Francis at Optus Stadium.
Yep.
I went, this is a bloke. Now, I'm not, I don't want to compare him to anyone, but if he can continue to dominate matches like that match I saw, he could put in a Dusty-like performance in September. If he's got the skills, I think, to do it.
Yep.
The defence, I think, has been terrific. Mind you, in finals, I think since 2021, they've only averaged 69 points a game. So their forward line, I know you've talked them up, but that's one area. In September, more so, they need to make sure that Dixon's, let's be honest, he's very close to the end, I would have thought, given his body and his age.
He's almost a wild card.
True.
To a point.
So,
and that could come up.
So Marshall isn't in the side.
No.
So who's the goal kicking for them? For instance, tonight.
It's a good question.
No, it's their forward line is the caveat for me that as you're about to look into your phone.
That's a great question. It's a great question, Skater. I've got to be honest.
The forward line is just, I don't know. There's some question marks that have to be answered at the moment.
Yeah, well, look, I can't disagree with you, Skate.
I know Willie Rioli is a 2 or 3 goal a game bloke.
But no Houston, no Farrell, I think is big. And people have been throwing out, well, do you put Rosé sort of back behind the footy? I don't think that. No, I don't think that's a good idea. They both play pretty integral, right? Like I think Burton could be the guy to step up for Port Adelaide and go and do that. But then you got to think and flip. If we can talk about Geelong as well, Tom Stewart, we know what he does, so he's so important for them. Do you go and spend time with him? He plays this role where he'll start in the middle and drop behind the footy. Pretty unique role in the AFL at the moment. Not many other sides do it. I personally would put someone to Tom Stewart.
It's worked.
He's their best player, and you've got to shut down Jeremy Cameron. Can Aliir. He's probably the guy. Can he stop Jeremy Cameron? Because if he can, then you're forcing other players to kick goals.
Do you think Radaglia, who's played a bit forward in the back half of the season, still has that role? Given the Mitch Georgiades, I mentioned Rioli as an avenue. I like Mitch Georgiades, but so they're going to have like most teams, a spread of goal kickers, I would have thought, to go deep.
I think they like that sort of two-pronged forward line with Dixon, Radaglia, and then they'll have Georgiades as that guy. Burn-Jones, Rioli, and someone else floating through like a midfielder.
Mids, hopefully.
That forward line doesn't scare many, I don't think.
No, exactly. But their mids do. You're right.
Mids do. So, Geelong are going to have to cut, and we know what Geelong are going to do. They're going to have a game plan that's going to put them in a position to be able to win this game. Like Chris Scott's one of the best coaches to have done it, to be in the game. They're not rolling into a qualifying final thinking, oh, well, we'll give this a crack, hope we play well. They'll come in with a well-executed, well-planned game plan.
And they will know that in Adelaide, if they play pretty well in Adelaide, they'll know that all the pressure is not on them because blokes like you don't rate them. No. Blokes, no, in all seriousness, but a lot of people...
Do you rate them?
Not to win the flag, no. So essentially, they come in with less expectations than I think any other final side.
And they finished third.
I know, they've done exceptionally well.
So I'd love to see, I used to love doing this to Port, you delay the walkout, so there's bloody song playing, they've got the scarves in the air and never tear us apart or never leave us alone or whatever they're bloody talking about. And then you just hold off. They want to throw the ball up at the end and then you just walk out a bit slowly. And
it'd be like that, just delaying the haka or something.
Yeah, I'd like to see, no, it is.
Which happened on the week, a couple of weekends ago.
Yeah, and how'd that work out? Yeah.
Not well.
So my pick's Port and they win the flag, so yeah, they win.
And they'll win comfortably tonight, do they?
Okay.
Yeah, I've selected Port, but your confidence is interesting, and I hope you have that
blind faith, confidence, call what you like.
Yeah, Port to win, but I think I don't discount Geelong really. Chris Scott, you're right. I think he's a master coach.
How did you finish in the tipping this year?
I finished 6th.
So that's
I dropped to one. Well, considering I tipped Carlton in the last round and the Dockers, probably cost me a couple of spots in the top 3 or 4.
Cost you anything or just pride?
Just pride and being a strut around for one day.
Peacock. Peacock.
A little bit. No, but no, I went okay without being brilliant.
No, very good. It's a bit of, genuine fall from grace there from you. Western Bulldogs, Hawthorn, MCG Friday. I think this is pretty close to the game of the weekend. I know there's some big matchups. It's not Brisbane Carlton, and I don't think it's Port Geelong. So these two middle games are the ones I want to watch. And it's a little bit disappointing, to be honest, that Bulldogs are playing Hawthorn. I'd like to see them on different...
Oh, you mean as in down the track?
Yeah, I'd like to see them on different sides of the draw because I do think these two are a couple of the most informed sides in the comp. And the way that their footy's looking, they're both sort of towards the area of the premiership window in terms of their metric Skeeter. So a few selection things to go through. Will Day did not get up with that collarbone. He'll be touch and go pretty much every week for the finals if they continue. Cam McKenzie sounds like he's done a little hammy during the week or he was dealing with it from 2 weeks back. But, he, like many others at Hawthorn, they don't have many superstars, but he's one of those guys that plays his role. He'll have his 20 to 25 and be clean and tough and hard. And I don't think it's going to lose them the game, but they certainly would have liked him to be playing. CJ Giath, he is going to be available. He played in the VFL last week.
Yes.
So he'll be good to go. I think that's important for them.
Yep, exactly. And look, their numbers stack up pretty well, albeit you have a look at who they've played in the past couple of months. There's been a couple of more lowly sides in that grouping, to be honest with you. But averaging 115 points at the MCG in their last 5 games. And importantly, they've won their 5 of their last 6 matches by at least 60 points. So they're not just winning, they're putting sides to the sword. They are the Hollywood Hawks. They are just doing it beautifully, and they're taking the selfies. And I think they're playing the game in a very attractive manner.
Can it stand up in finals? That's the question.
That's the question. And, they haven't played Friday night footy, I don't think, for a while.
That doesn't matter.
No, I know. But it's a final, and that's where I know you're going to lean towards the Hawks here, but
I didn't know that.
Well, you've got them as one of your teams that you really like.
Yeah, okay.
But the Bulldogs,
it's probably good by you.
The only question I ask in all seriousness is if you can stop Jamari Ulehagen, Sam Darcy, Aaron Norton, that's not insignificant for this match on Friday.
Yeah, you're right. Look, I think talking about those sort of potential changes for Hawthorn, Bulldogs don't really have that. They've got some guys sort of up and down. Maybe Riley West and JJ, but Jason Johannesson, he came back through the VFL. Does he get a game? But this Bulldogs side, as much as Hawthorn's humming, the Bulldogs are the other side that's absolutely sizzling. They have more superstars on their list. Like, they have the guys, those 3 you mentioned, and Darcy, Norton, Ulehagen. Hawthorn don't really have that.
And you compare the centre square when you look at if it's Tim English down to a Bont. I mean, they've got Treloar's playing super footy All-Australian. Ed Richards is a guy that's just stoppage work. And that's where I'd be concerned from a Hawthorn perspective, where if they can match them in clearances, etc., because last time they met, I think it was at Marble Stadium earlier this year, and they got home, I think Bulldogs surged in the last quarter, but Hawthorn got them pretty comfortably from intercept possessions, outscoring them by 52 points. But it was clearances where the Dogs were very good. I do remember that game. And I actually do remember it. I had to look at the numbers because you can't...
From your notebook, the notes you take during the game.
Clearances, I don't think it surprised you. The clearances for the Bulldogs are their one wood.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. If we think that Chris Scott is going to be coaching Geelong well, you better believe that Sam Mitchell's coming into this game with some sort of tactic. Now, Luke Beveridge is no slouch either. So it's the best thing about finals. You get the best coaches with the best teams, the best players, playing on the best players. There will be something that Hawthorn does, I think, that's a little bit out of the box. I think Sam Mitchell will have something prepared, whether it's to do with dealing with their tall forwards, right? So they're going to, those 3 are all significant threats in the forward line. How do you stop them with Frost, Sicily, Weddle? They're all undersized on those 3. So what do you do about that? The other way, how do you put a highlight on the Bulldogs, which I think their weakness is their backline.
Yeah, even Rory's lob's gone down.
The lobster
done a good job.
Yeah, we like
Liam
him.
Jones. Yeah, you're right.
Liam Jones playing his 200th game, his first final.
And he would have had a few sleepless nights prior to getting confirmed, given the match review situation. But no, right. I think the Bulldogs' defence is a little iffy, but I still see the quality there. And Hawthorn, as good as they've been, and Sam Mitchell said, we don't exist to play finals. We exist to win. I love his attitude of, we want to actually win a flag. Now, whether it's this year or not, I think whatever they do from here on in, they have the basis to really launch with, whether it's with Battle and Barras down back. It's going to be, if they can win a final this year, they will, I dare say, go into next year as premiership second favourites, third favourites, maybe even favourites, who knows?
We all love Sam Mitchell now, don't we?
I think we've always knew he was a very good coach.
Yes.
You more so than most.
Yes, absolutely. I'll pick Hawthorn.
I'll pick the Bulldogs.
Okay. I think it's going to be a close game. It's
Yeah,
gonna
it should be
a bloody good game. Friday night, you and I just absolutely calling the guts out of it on 6PR, so make sure you tune in over there, Skeeter. Sydney GWS is the other game of the weekend, I think. SCG at Sydney's home deck. Giants 3-0, so 3-0 versus the Swans in finals. They are 3-0 Giants.
That's right,
against Sydney in big games. Ins for Sydney, some big ones. Isaac Heaney, Tom McCartan, Tom Papley, Justin McInerney. They are all huge ins, well, every one of them. Brent Daniels, Toby Bedford, Isaac Cumming, Jake Riccardi, all available. So I think they're all big ins as
Bedford
well.
surprised me. I thought he was still a calf and 50-50. But if he's available, that's big as well.
So look, I reckon I've got a read on this one. You know how we have this Battle of the Bridge, which isn't the Harbour Bridge, by the way. It's some other bridge that connects somewhere to somewhere else.
Yep.
Apparently, did you know that?
No, I didn't know that, but maybe there's that the other bridge. Yep.
We've seen a lot of antagonising behaviour from the Giants in the lead up of these games. Have you seen any of that this week?
No.
Seen any of it?
Not really, no.
No, it's game mode, finals.
I did see them have a little dash at the West, though, over the Traders and then jump in. But Roger Cook coming out and saying, let's support the Giants. It's a good question. Who did West Australians support? Well, given the number of...
You should have got Roger Cook to sing the theme song of the Giants. He wouldn't have a clue, mate.
No, you're probably
Roger
right.
Cook, park it, please. Keep the politics out of sport. Thanks, Roger. Now, Sydney GWS. I think GWS are coming for an ambush. This is what we call the ambush, Skeeter. This is the silent creeping in the dark. We're putting our stealth jumpers on. There's nothing in the socials. We don't want to poke the bear. And then you go whack. Sydney, terrible first quarter team. One of the worst in the competition.
Only North Melbourne really have had more tardy starts.
GWS are rolling out the ambush, Skeeter.
Yeah, okay. And they did that, bear in mind, I think early this year at the SCG. And they led, I think, at quarter time 5 goals to 1 or 2. So, yeah, that's a real possibility. Do you think, in all seriousness, that there's been a directive from whether it's Dave Matthews or the coach to not go hard on the social media stuff this week because of the significance?
Well, yeah, it doesn't matter who it comes from, but the media stuff, the media team at GWS wouldn't just be doing whatever they like. There's some strategy behind it.
Everything's ticked off, I'd imagine.
As every club does. So they would have had some meetings around it. How are we going to play this? And to me, they're going ambush. They're going, nah, don't give them anything, no ammo, nothing. Sydney, best side all year, top of the ladder. We're not poking the bear here. And so that whether they can execute on that, I don't know. But I think they may. Some big matchups that we can go through. Skater Jesse Hogan, who plays on him, probably Tom McCartan returning. Errol Goulden v Josh Kelly, I think is an intriguing matchup. I'm not sure if they'll let two guys, because if those guys play on each other, it's shake hands and I'll see at the end of the game.
Yep.
I don't know if they want to do that. I reckon they've got to shut Whitfield down, which they've done this year with James Jordan. Whitfield's just such a connector for them.
From halfback, yeah, you're right. So, and conversely, is there, forget that 4 or 5 week period where the Swans struggled. Is there a need to try and lock down a Swan of any description now? Whether
you have to, mate. You have to, I reckon.
Is it Heaney? Is it Warner? Is it who do you?
Bedford's come in and done it on Warner,
and you know what, Toby Bedford. That's a real transformation for him if he continues in that vein to be a player to run with someone. Because
you don't think he's playing?
Sorry,
Bedford. He's not playing.
No, I thought there's a doubt. I'm saying, but he hasn't played that. Started his career as a small forward, and to be able to do what he's done. And look, the guy that I think impressed us both. You talk about what the Giants, when they're up and about, Brent Daniels is the guy that once he gets inserted inside the centre square, we saw him against the Dockers best on, or close to it with Jesse Hogan. He's one player that I think gives the Giants a different look, and that's one thing I'm sure John Longmire's looked at.
So, yeah, this is one of my 3 teams playing this weekend.
Yeah.
So, GWS.
Yeah, you can't really go wrong.
No. I think after that big spiel, the only way that Hawthorn can play GWS in a final is if GWS lose this game. But I would like to see them in a home prelim, so I'm picking GWS.
I'm picking the Swans, despite all you've said about ambushes and bullshit about social media. I'm picking the Swans. I think they've gone through their soft spot. They've had
soft spot,
the soft sort of month of footy, and I think they have been the best side all year in its entirety. So I expect them to be winning against the Giants. But I totally take your point. It is very unusual for the Giants to be so passive.
GWS are like you on a Friday or Saturday night, creeping around your hallways, trying not to wake people up, trying to get away with something, trying to slip something, just trying to slip something through the keeper. Just go, Victoria, I'm just going out to a business meeting, and then suddenly you find yourself at the shoe with 50 drinks in front of you. isn't it? They're like the Mark Reddings of whatever suburb you live in. Aren't they? What's a GWS like?
What?
Who am I like?
Well, given you've got 4 clubs, I've got time to list them all, but you sit there, you have little drive-bys about me and my habits, yet have a look in the mirror. That's all I say to you. Have a look in the mirror. There's, you're down in Busselton getting gas last night.
Sneaking away. Mark Redding's making sure he steps on the carpet. He knows which each timber floorboard creaks and what doesn't.
Oh, yeah, because I used to have ice with my drinks. Now I don't have ice.
Why was that?
Because I've got to walk down the hallway and the floorboards actually creak. And so if my wife hears that too many times, she knows I've had too many bourbons. So therefore, I just have essentially warm soft drink with my bourbon.
Get yourself a fridge in the man cave.
Oh, it's not allowed.
What about maybe you could get Alexa to bring them to you?
Yeah, not allowed. No.
Okay. What about not allowed by who?
Well, who do you think?
Brisbane v Carlton at the Gabba. Brisbane Carlton at the Gabba Saturday 5:30. Look, I don't know what's going to go on here with the teams. I'll just give you some names that could come back. Charlie Curnow, Harry Mackay, Adam Chera, Tom De Koning, Mitch McGovern, Sam Doherty, we know he's back, Zach Williams, Jack Martin, all expected to return. They've just got the one out, so there's going to be some changes. We know that. Brisbane probably won't do too much. Maybe Jack Payne could be up and about for this one. But Carlton are basically pulling in a new team to play Brisbane at the Gabba.
It's not the ideal way to do it, is it? And look, their performance against St Kilda, I thought was pretty good given the numbers and the players they had in. I mean, they knew the consequences of it. I just really have a real concern. We know that the quality will come from Cripps and Walsh through the middle.
Not enough depth.
Yeah, probably.
They're bringing in the depth.
Yeah, the depth in terms of, I mean, there's definite quality there. Look, neither of us knows how right to go those players that have been injured are, and that's the question. We talk about Doherty, and clearly, you prefer not to play him first up in a final in the heat of a game up at the Gabba, but
they need to start well.
They need to start well, as they did in the prelim final last year. They kicked 5 goals up.
Yeah.
And so they can
play up there.
Yeah, they won up there earlier this year by a point. They came from 6 or 7 goals down, I think it was.
Opening round? It
was opening round, yeah. They won by a point. So, I don't think the ground holds fears, but I just don't know if they're playing super footy, and I don't think Brisbane, for that matter, are playing as well as they were this time last year. Bear in mind, they've had so much player personnel changes and injuries have cruelled them. So, look, of the 4 games, this is the one you'd think if there's going to be a margin, this could be the one.
Brisbane, of course, losing the opportunity to play anywhere else, to play at the Gabba any time after this round. So even if they win this, they won't be back home. So they're going to travel 3 weeks in a row, basically, to go and win the flag, which I think is going to be really difficult for them.
Let me ask you this one. Let me just have a guess at this.
Oh, no.
If they win this game, who do they play next?
Oh, do you think I know?
Jaden might just have to come to the party here and help us with this, because just tell us the draw, because obviously they're playing the loser of a qualifying final.
Yeah, and which one that is the question.
Yeah, that's it's either going to be in Adelaide or they're going to be in Sydney. Does that make sense?
No, it doesn't. What if Adelaide?
Or Geelong.
What if Adelaide win? They're in the prelim. It's not going to Adelaide.
Port Adelaide.
They could be in Adelaide. They could be in Geelong. They could be in Sydney.
Well, they'll be in Melbourne. Yeah.
Or Melbourne. So, do you know where it is, Jade?
They're playing on Sydney or GWS, right?
Well, I don't know. Are they?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, there you go. So they're playing in Sydney.
Okay, well, there you go. You said they were playing in, what did you say?
Adelaide. I had no idea where they're playing. But so they're going to play in Sydney if they win.
Right. And so what do you derive from that?
Well, not a lot. I was just asking you the question.
So what's the question?
Where are they playing next?
I don't know, Skeeter. I don't know anything about this fucking game. Stop asking me questions I don't know the answer
We've
for.
ticked past midday on a Thursday. We're normally well and truly done by now.
Yeah, as I said, I would have been nice for you to get here on time. AFLW, of course.
Picking Brisbane. Yeah,
but they can challenge. Carlton can challenge. Not saying Carlton can't win.
Yeah, and I don't think Brisbane can win the flag, but that's where
I don't know that. I don't think Carlton can win. I don't think Brisbane can win. I think Port Adelaide can. Who's going to win the flag? All right, big dog. All right, you're having a go at me. I'm picking too many teams.
Well, you're picking. I'll pick one. I'll pick Sydney. I'll pick Sydney to go.
Plain old, just the vanilla Reddings.
Oh, okay. I'll pick the Dockers. They're no chance. So you'll pick someone outside the 8. I just don't think teams in the elimination, given it such an even season, I think it's going to be really tough to win 4 games.
So you think Sydney's going to win the flag?
I think Sydney's the best place side to win the flag, yes.
Thank you, Skeeter. AFLW, West Coast Essendon at Laugh Lane on Saturday. I'll be calling that one with Fox Footy. And Fremantle Adelaide on Sunday afternoon. I'll also be calling that game. 4 games of footy this weekend, Skeeter.
I'm matching you. I'm doing Thursday, Friday, Saturday and a Sunday game for the WAFL with the big first semi between Claremont and Peel. Peel down at...
Sunday, 2 p.m.
Yep,
correct?
that's me.
East Perth, Swan Districts on the Saturday. That's a big game.
Huge second semi-final. Should get a really good crowd there as well. I reckon there's talking upwards of 5,000-6,000 people.
The lad that got rubbed out, is he their best player?
He's
one of?
One of, yeah. Aidan Clark. So he got 4 weeks. He went to the tribunal.
And that's...
No go.
I saw the incident. You may not be able to comment.
I didn't see it. I haven't actually had a look at it.
Gee, it was a strange one. It was... And I'm not challenging anything because I don't really know much about it, but sort of looked quite innocuous and wasn't watching, and it was a bit of a strange one, but 4 weeks and he's done for
Well, put it this way,
so.
just in brief, I did speak to a guy who does a fair bit of work in this space, and he's a qualified lawyer, so it makes us sit back and listen. 4 weeks, intentional conduct, high impact, graded as medium, but increased due to the risk of injury from the use of an elbow behind play and high contact. So, again, I didn't have a look closely at the vision, but it's disappointing for him. Swans also going to lose Jesse Turner this week, but that's the marquee game, East Perth versus Swans, and your mate and our mate Hammer. He won't be playing until hopefully he's available for the grand final.
So he's ruled out this week, is he?
Not playing this week.
Is that right? That's the first I've heard.
Well, that's what was declared earlier this week. So I thought he was aiming to get back for this week, but either a prelim or the grand final. But Hammer is
just ship him in for the granny, they reckon.
Just on a crutch at the mall. They had the moon boot for a while. Liz Franks, is that the terminology you use? Liz Frank?
Liz Franks. Yeah,
is it Liz Franks?
Yeah, she lives down the road. Yeah,
well, anyway, that's what he's got.
All right, Will Schofield, Mark Redding, Shell FootyCast. Couple of listener questions to get through, Skater.
Come on.
Well, this is from Lukey, and I just think you're gonna be rattled if I read it out. Do you want me to read it?
There's a fair chance I'll be rattled.
Hey, fellas, this one's for you, Skate. I've been thinking, it doesn't say that, but this one's for you, Skate. I've been thinking about the AFL could make the most of the first round of the year, and that way they could bring back State of Origin. Okay. You're going to have to listen to this, though. There's a fair bit going on. Round 1 fixture. Richmond v Carlton, Sydney GWS, Brisbane Gold Coast, West Coast Freo, Adelaide Port, Hawthorn Essendon, Melbourne North, Collingwood Geelong, Saints Bulldogs. This way, no one has to travel interstate for the first week. Plus, I would suspect most games would be sold out or close to it. They're all rivalry games, right? All the derbies, all the Battle of the Bridges. What's the Queensland? The Q Clash. What else we got? What's the Adelaide one called?
Showdown.
State of Origin. Play when finals are also on, when minimum games are being played. Players from teams that have finished the season could play for these games. First round, bye week before finals. So this is how you get this week.
State of Origin.
Right? WA versus Victoria, and then SA versus Allies. Round 2, first week of finals. Victoria, South Australia, Allies v WA. Round 3, second week of finals. WA, SA, Victoria, Allies. Then the 2 teams with the most wins plays off in the State of Origin final at AFL Grand Final Eve. What are your thoughts, please?
I just think it's going to be really
0 to 100 a bit. We're going from no State of Origin to 4 rounds.
Yeah, that's not happening, I don't think, the 4 rounds.
I don't mind it.
I don't mind it, but... So let's just, if we to simplify it and say play State of Origin in the bye week before the finals, is that part of the suggestion here?
Yep. What was that?
To play State of Origin in the bye week before the finals.
And then round 1 and round 2.
Forget round 1 and round 2. Let's even just in 1 week.
Okay.
So even round 1. So
State of Origin bye round. You don't like that?
Well,
all the good players aren't playing.
Well, 8 clubs save, and if there's 6 of them Victorian,
yes,
it does leave. State of Origin. You want the best of the best, and you're not going to have it under those circumstances.
So scrap the pre-finals bye and play it in the week before in grand final. Put the.
So there's only 2 clubs that are affected.
Yep. Yeah, they do it in the NFL. They do the All-Star game in the week before the Super Bowl.
Look, we can talk about any type of setup for State of Origin. The only element that gets players across the line, I would have thought, given your season's over,
the moolah,
is money.
Yes.
And I think it's 30,000 plus for State of Origin in season for the rugby league.
Yes.
I think you need a really big carrot to get players, in all seriousness. So Nick Dacos and Josh Dacos is in Greece at the moment, to come back.
Nick will be there too.
No, he's not there. He's on the Gold Coast. Just relax. Yeah, apparently.
Okay.
So
Where's
guys
Peter?
go to Bali.
Peter will be one of the places.
So the bye before, if there's a bye before the grand final, It's just so hard. I'm not disrespecting the correspondence, but I just think
So we're going to play payers 20 grand each. So we've got 20 players. What's that? 400 grand per team. You got to go and sell it for $1 million. They're probably not getting that done, are they? Oh,
No.
You know what?
Well, you do a survey of players that would put their hand up to play state of origin footy
play.
in general.
I'll play now.
Do you think there would be? Just go to your former club. Would they, if you did
If the
show of
price
hands?
is right. If the price is right, everyone.
So it's dollars.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I'm being honest. Is it
20 grand's a fair bit of money. Give us 20 grand. I'll
even for the blokes on?
I'll
900?
play one-on-one in the cage on Dusty Martin right now for 20 grand. I can tell you that. Do it for $20.
I don't think it's happening, and that's not because it's not a good idea. I just think it's going to be so difficult. Club interests, unlike the NRL, club interests rule supreme. And they have ever since, I think, we go back to Mick Malthouse at the Eagles, and he had 15 players state of origin-wise. If you're trying to win a premiership as a coach, you don't want them playing origin footy.
This is from B-Dub on YouTube. The Eagles were better, but last year were smashed by injuries. This year they had main players like Yo McGovern out there and often added Reid. I thought the first half of the year was mostly really good, and Simo did a good job initially at getting the boys up and about until the wheels fell off, but I don't think we're getting better next year. In fact, if we got injuries or poor form to the Stars, then we could actually be worse next year. The thing is that 2022 and 2023 were so decimated with injuries and COVID that it doesn't provide a proper baseline. So BW, you don't have to comment on that, Skeet, but he's predicting a worse year next year for West Coast fans. Sorry to say that. Zachary, friend on Instagram, the Goal of the Year nominations just come out. I believe 2 of them are Nick Dacos, one's Harley Reid.
Yeah, I've seen.
So it's just 3.
Well, all I saw was Nick Dacos' goal against the Gold Coast Suns up at People's First, and then obviously Harley Reid's fend-off goal against Melbourne. They're the 2 that I saw. And, of course, marking-wise, got at least one West Aussie involved there with Bobby Hill.
Right.
Jamie Elliott's in the mix there. They're the 2 I saw. There might be others involved. But if you're looking at breaking it down, I thought Harley's was pretty good. I thought that's got to be right in the conversation. Nick Dacos had a chain of possessions and followed the ball up and kicked the goal up on the Gold Coast. And I think Jamie Elliott probably wins the mark of the year.
Well, I agree with Zach. He says now forwards can't even get a look for the Goal of the Year. Why don't we just give all the bloody awards to the mids? I agree. Thanks, Zach. Thanks, Skeeter. That's us.
Been a pleasure. Enjoy the footy. Can't wait to see which one of your 3 teams can advance to the next stage of the finals.
You're going to be working class man this weekend. Tell you what.
Oh no, I'm just doing my hard yards, and
brilliant.
But footy's back. It's good.
Pleasure to be in your presence.
Good to have you back from Busselton.